11 o'clock on a Thursday. What madness is this? But we're all doing fine. This is all fine. We are live from the north of Scotland, which is a beautiful day with blue skies and fresh air and everything. It's really quite great. And that is befitting of an exciting live stream schedule for today. Because we've got a lot of exciting things to show you. So let me get this all going. Right, live stream, normal stuff. You know the drill. We're going to cover task of the week, reporting, what's been in the mailbag, what's new, and a power move. We are going to dive straight in, I think, with task of the week. Which is onboarding a new colleague. Because from our point of view, we onboard a lot of people quite frequently. And it's something that often comes with some data migration. It's something that comes with sort of introducing some big concepts to people for the first time. And of course, you will have new starters all the time. And you may well have a sort of onboarding script for them. So I thought we could go through that together. We could have a look at some ways to introduce people to Consonance for the first time. You know, what are the big things that we have to pick off? So let's go over to our web app here. We're in local because we've got some exciting new things to show you later on. So forgive any flickering between the screens. So you know, you're thinking, gosh, new starter arrives on Monday. Very exciting. What's the first thing we need to do? Well, of course, you need to do some non-Consonance things, such as setting up their email addresses, buying them a computer, making sure they've got clear roles and responsibilities outlined, all of that stuff. But when you come to bringing them into Consonance, you're going to be, first of all, setting them up with a user account. So I would go to my account, I would log in as me, go to my account, go to users, and go over to this page. And here we are with the current users set up on this particular client's account. And so I would click the button that says invite new user, and I would type in their new, their email address. So I don't know, Francis at wherevericomefrom.com. When I hit invite, this is going to throw an error because I'm just on local and I don't want to go inviting whoever, but that's okay. Couldn't send the invite, but what happens is if we refresh the page, we see them on the list of the users. Now, if you come to this page on your account and it says you've reached the maximum number of users and this purple button is greyed out, then that is because you've reached the maximum number of users and you need to raise a ticket and ask us to change your invoice and increment the number of users that you're allowed on the system. So that's why that might be greyed out. It's because we need to make sure we're charging you for the number of users that you have, because of course we charge by user, not by any sort of metric that's going to encourage you to limit your use of the system. So we definitely wouldn't want to charge by product count or by module or something like that. So our billing metric is a person's account, a user account. So that's why that might be grayed out. Lovely. So now they are set up, and on their email will be an invite to say come and join the fun. So when they start on Monday morning or wherever, they will be able to click through from their email, and of course they will go to the homepage of Consonance for the first time. So how do they start processing all of the information that's here? I mean, bearing in mind they're processing a lot, aren't they? They are dealing with a new company, new colleagues, new place of work, new computer. There's a lot of new things. So I think it's a kindness to steer them towards just a few places so that in their first week they can get a feel for what's going on. And so I think bringing them to a homepage like this is not a bad idea, where they can see, for instance, the cadence of works by publication date. So this is quite a useful area to point them at, to say, look, we've been going for 3 whole years and started off really strong and then not done much since for this particular made up Feline Press account. But yours will look interesting and start to tell the story of your company. And then the next place I would show them, hopefully this is a fairly understandable web interface, with links that are links like other links on the internet, and means of navigating to different pages. So all of this is hopefully fairly, start using it, see how far you get. But some of the pages that I might suggest that they go to first might be the works page, because that will show them in product publication date descending order some of your latest list, and they'll start to think, okay, right, we publish cat books. This is good news. And they'll sort of start to get a sense of how far out you've planned. They'll start to get a sense of, only one product on each work. Okay, that's what we do here. Or if they see 5 and 4 products, they'll think, oh yes, of course, because we're publishing audiobooks here, or we're heavy on digital editions. It's all painting a picture of who you are and letting your new starters start to feel what the big shapes of things are. And then to that end, depending on day of the week, are they just grappling with getting their computer set up, or is it a little bit further in? The next page I would take them is the reporting area, because really then they are starting to get a sense of being in control and a sense of thinking, okay, well, let's just have a noodle around here. Let's see what we've got. Ask them to create a new report and to start scrolling down here thinking, oh, right, yes, well, product metadata, of course, that seems a familiar domain. If they've been working at any publisher before, they'll recognise words such as ebooks and words such as page count. They'll start to think, okay, right, I can search by that. This is great. And then maybe suggest that they start to sort of rummage through some of the interesting data. Let's have a look at all of the products where the pub date is after next month, because realistically they're not going to be doing much until then. And then, okay, right, yes, 40 works, gosh, interesting. Point them at this button up here. Let's go to lists and look at, there's our works, oldest to newest again. Just let them feel their way. But this is a tool that will enable them to feel a sense of agency, a sense of control in a period of their lives where, everything's a bit out of control because there's a lot of new things starting. Yeah, so that should keep them gainfully occupied for a few days, and hopefully Constance then act as a tool for you painting this picture of who you are as a company, what you're trying to do, what the cadence is, what the pace is, and to show, I would say this, wouldn't I, but to show that you are giving people the tools and equipment they need to do their job properly. And Consonance is the one single source of truth where everyone can come. It avoids confusion, it avoids ambiguity on pub dates and prices and that sort of thing. And hopefully it'll give people a sense of thinking, yes, I can make a difference here. I can see where the exciting areas are. I can see where we could improve things. Let's go. So yes, so that would be my starter for 10 for just the absolute basics. Then of course what I would do is impress upon them how important it is for them to raise a ticket with the people at Consonance, who are very friendly and very welcoming. Would talk for days on the excitement and possibility of metadata and so forth. So the moment they get stuck, or if they would like to have a session with us to once they've had a look around, absolutely appropriate to do that. And if they're keen to sort of keep a bit more of a low profile for a few weeks, point them at the documentation so they can search the documentation, as you know, from within the app. Here's a whole section called Getting Started, so fantastic place to get started. And then hopefully we will hear from them in short order and welcome them just as you're welcoming them, and make sure they've got everything they can hope for to succeed in their new role. Because this is what it's all about, isn't it? Making sure that we all have the tools and resources to get the job done, get all of our wonderful authors and illustrators and translators books in front of the right people. Smashing. So definitely drop us a line if there's any other areas that you like to bring people on board into. If there's anything we can do to help. You're watching one of the videos now, so obviously get them to look at the YouTube channel, go back through all of these live streams, pick through some of the key ones. There's that 1 hour demo, I think live stream 14 or 13 or 12 or something we did. There's lots of resources available to hit the ground running. So let us know how we can help as you go on that. So task of the week, very good. Right, what's next? In the reporting spotlight this week, we have sales analysis. So I'm not going to take you over to reporting straight away for this. I am going to take you to the Snowbooks, the real Snowbooks account, because there's some better numbers in there. Actually, am I going to do that? Maybe I won't. We'll stick on the local site for the moment, because there's always a risk sharing my real data on the internet. You don't know who's watching, do you? So let's stick in the local pretend Feline Press app, and let's show you what I mean. The bit of Consonance that I mean. We're going to start with this big sales analysis page here. Now I'm going to take you around the system just to look at this reporting spotlight segment this week, because there's a number of different pages and they're all at different levels of sort of granularity. This sales analysis option right at the top here, this is at your company level. Then we've got some kind of subsets of those big numbers. We've got the same sort of numbers but split out at series level then. And we've also got numbers at the work level. So we'll have a look at each of them in turn. And I'm putting this in the reporting spotlight. I mean, we have looked at this before on live streams, but I do think it's an interesting way to look at this particular sort of data. The reporting area tends to be more for sort of tunneling through products, doesn't it? We're searching for product attributes, whereas sales, they're something a little bit different. So let's have a look. And like I say, this is made up data, so it's not particularly incredible. We've got one main sales channel here, and we haven't sold very many products at all, but it's okay, we'll get the gist from this. So this is the top level sales analysis, and we can see some high level numbers of how many books we've sold, what the average sale is, and if this data was more interesting, then there would be some great charts here. And then scrolling down the page, we see some different, setups for this different sort of information. So here are Feline Press's sales by month. And you can see that we're going backwards through time from September 2025, which is what it is now, back through to whenever this client started, which I made up. It's not actually 2012, that's okay though. I haven't been running a shadow publishing company all this time based entirely around cats, and have sold like 8 copies. So going back through time, and we've got the number of products sold, the quantity there, and then some metrics, so we can see again this sort of cadence. Probably an interesting page, isn't it, to send your new starters to, thinking about this. So we can see these sort of big sweeps of what's happened and what the averages are. So that's interesting by month. And then scrolling down to the bottom of this part, we start to see the data split out in different sorts of ways. So sales by product form type. Now we've only got book here, but if we had a slightly better level of refinement in the data, if we had audio, if we had digital, then we'd be able to see the percentage split of that. And that's fascinating, isn't it? When, if you've been working hard setting up an audio program, really interesting to see how that has changed and shifted, and now to what extent it contributes to the company's sales, and what the average sales are as well. Is it relatively profitable? All insights, all very useful. Next up, we've got sales by channel. So again, one channel here, but you can imagine that if there were multiple channels here, then we would see some really interesting splits there. So, do we sell most of our do we get most of our money from home sales? Are we really export focused? What about online? So, and this is really, kind of a freebie, a payoff for if you go to the bother of uploading all of your sales to Consonance. You are normally doing it because you want to be able to generate royalties and manage your royalty runs. But if you've uploaded the sales, then you get this reporting as a happy bonus. So we've got channel and then the parent channels there that wraps up to. And then, precious little data here, but we get to see the top sales works per month, the top sales series per month, and the top sale authors per month. So again, I'm not going to share some real data here because this is the public internet, but hot foot it over to your own account and see your real numbers. And obviously they'll only be here if you're uploading your sales, but this may be motivational. Even if you're not wanting to run your royalties through here, you get a lot of bang for your buck uploading your sales. So this is a great place to have a look at the big shapes of your sales income so far. And that's under sales analysis. We get a similar sort of thing for series over here. So if we look at series and if we go into domestic companion animals, then we've got this button here, series analysis, and that will give us a similar sort of layout of information, but now we're only looking at records from the works within this particular series called domestic companion animals. So we've got channel level sales, we've got product form level sales, but then we've got at the series level, we've got this area that looks at each of the works in the series in turn, and it shows kind of this visualized flow of data by month of when each work in the series got published and what their sales were. So you can almost start to see, if the data was real, you might be able to see whether your new series works are cannibalizing sales of other works in the same series or enhancing them. Is there a kind of a halo effect bump? When you publish the next work in the series, do all of the other works get a little bit of a sales boost, or are we seeing the opposite effect where actually people are switching to the new work in the series? So again, go and have a look at your data. I don't know, but this is the page to have a look on, and it'd be fascinating to see, wouldn't it? So again, we would go to the menu, we would go to series, click through, find the series you're interested in. Let's go to feline fixture this time, then click on series analysis, and then you'll see any data that exists there. And of course, if you don't see the data, you don't see the data because there's no data. I just want to finally say that there's a handy dandy explore button here, so clicking through from domestic companion animals takes you to a new report within the report area, which is refined only to the works that are in this particular series that you just click through to. And then, as usual, you can have a look to see any of the different displays. You might want to look at products. Lovely. You might want to look at all sorts of things. Knock yourself out. But that's the explore button from the series there. And if I go back into the series, I just want to show you on series analysis again. our copy buttons. Click on the copy button and you can then paste that into Excel or I'm just trying to think of another non-Microsoft proprietary spreadsheet. Google Sheets, that's proprietary. LibreOffice, much better. Anything that will take a spreadsheet, you can paste that into. So that can be quite helpful if you then want to, go off and do some further analysis and pivot tables and aggregations and so forth. All super. And then I promised you that we would be looking at the top level, but then we would be drilling down into the work level. So let's have a look at a particular work to see if there's any interesting information to do with analysis. So here we are on Cats in Space. I've navigated to it in the usual fashion. If we go to Insights, we've got a sales analysis button here at the work level now. So clicking here, let's try and remember one of the products that's got any sales on it. Maybe that one, Cats of the World. Sales analysis, great, we've got at least a sale. So here we are at the work level. We went to Insights, clicked on the sales analysis here. So now we're seeing the same information, the same sort of information, but now this is only relevant to the products on Cats of the World. So that's all fine. And again, just fascinating, which products are carrying the load, which should maybe be looked at because they're costing a lot of money to produce, but they're not selling at all. Or maybe they're not selling much, but they're not costing a lot to produce, in which case, fine, may as well get those few extra incremental sales if it's not a lot of extra work. But this is your way in, isn't it, to starting to think about that sort of information. And then sticking at the work level, the final area I want to show you for these sort of fixed sales-ish analysis reports is the royalties report. And if we go here, we see, again, sales information, but through the lens of royalties. So we're looking here at royalties by these two sort of levels of channel. Then we're starting to see at the channel product level. So here we've got sales, royalties, and the royalty rate as well. So again, super handy dandy useful to hop in, see a summary of all of the royalty information going back sort of to the beginning of the life of the work, cumulatively presented, and then this sort of acts as an extra layer on top for the royalty area itself. So just wanted to make sure that we were all looking in the correct same place for things to do with kind of sales reporting in terms of volume and value and royalties, which you would do through the mechanisms we've looked at, as opposed to going to the reporting area, which is more through the lens of that sort of product metadata plus side of things. Product metadata, project management, workflow, batch actions, that sort of thing. So yes, so a slightly different reporting spotlight. Reporting has many flavours, doesn't it? And this is one of them. So we have had a good look around the reporting spotlight sales analysis. Great. Righty ho, what's next? A very swift, I'm searching for the right word to use there, a swift one today to look at. Treasured client, you know who you are, dropped us a line to say, these buttons on the metadata page that I can click on to copy my text, they're fantastic. Wouldn't it be great if we could extend it just a little bit further? And wouldn't it be great if we could copy in a kind of a rich text mode? And so what we did was say, yes, treasured client, that would be a great idea. And we hot-footed it to our code, and we did a fairly modest piece of development and shipped it. And so that's happy, good times. So I will show you what I mean. Let's go to Cats of the World. Do I mean Cats of the World? Yeah, it'll do. And we're going to go to the metadata page. For that is where this hallowed button resides. Metadata page, and we're going to go to the marketing section, and we are going to have a look at one of our marketing texts. Let's go to the main description. The button is this one here. It's this one here, and if I click on it, boink, I get this. My Zoom has defeated me, hasn't it? I get this pop-up showing all the different ways that one can copy the external marketing text. So depending on how your account is configured, you might also see internal, external private, internal private. So there might be 4 columns here in a kind of matrix. This client is configured to only have external text, which is fine. So I can copy the HTML. If I go over to LibreOffice, look, I've been here before, just checking that this worked. So I've gone over to LibreOffice and I've pasted what's on my pasteboard, and you can see that it's got HTML tags in it. That is fine. In fact, why don't we, let's go to a work that's got a lot more richness, because I'm pretty sure that Cats and Space has got a great big long table of contents. Cats and Space, metadata, marketing, table of contents, and then this table of contents, yeah, it's great big thing all laid out. Let's just cancel that. So I'm going to use the table of contents button here. So if I copy the HTML from this one, go over to LibreOffice, paste. That's what I asked for. I asked for my HTML, so I've got a UL, an LI, and then there's the cover. I mean, this is obviously much more appropriate for pasting into a, I don't know, WordPress website or whatever nefarious purposes you have for it. But that's your HTML. Get rid of that. Plain text will strip out any HTML. Good. So there we've got just like, well, plain text. It does what it says on the tin. There's no markup because Consonance has been asked to strip it out. So that's fine. Then here's our new rich text button. Thank you, Treasured Client. Click copy on that, and we get rich text, and we get bold and italic formatting carried through to wherever you're pasting it. So that is what the client was asking for. So that's the moderately new thing. That's why I'm telling you about this stuff. But let's carry on. Let's have a look at the other options. Markdown. Interesting. Let's have a look to see what that does. So here's the Markdown. Markdown is the formatting language. Where the markup language? Markdown language? Got to be precise in these descriptions, haven't you? Markdown is a markup language that allows you to say whether you want something to have HTML tags applied to it, but without going to all of the bother of the opening and closing chevrons and that sort of thing. So when you put an asterisk in Markdown, that resolves to be a bullet point. When you wrap a word in 2 asterisks, that resolves to be the tag underline, whatever underline is. Might be, is it italics? You know, let's go to Consonance and find out, instead of me trying to remember. So if I go here, one star and another star, it's italics. There we go, fantastic. And if I do 2 stars and then close with 2 stars, that's bold. And you can see what the actual HTML markup is in the little preview bit here. So italics, which in Markdown is 1 asterisk each side of the string, that resolves to EM. 2 asterisks resolves to strong, which in old money was bold, and that was I think. So B and I, depending on what era of the internet you come from, but that's what it is nowadays. Great, so that's that. Let me close that because I'm still halfway through my drop-downy copy-pasty list. So that was Markdown. Then 2 more. HTML with metadata. Copy that, let's see what we get. Get rid of all that. Oh, sorry, I'm doing it too fast. Get rid of that, nothing up my sleeve. How do I make this go smaller. Oh, the people software. I don't know how to zoom out. This is the level I'm at. Get rid of all that. Right, get rid of that. Go back to copy HTML with metadata. Smashing. Paste. So here's the HTML. Blah, 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 blah. Here's our tags. All fine. But then we get a little bit of the metadata that you've put in on the marketing text record. So you get the ID, should you want the ID. You get the type of text, the marketing text that it is. It's a type table of contents. You get which products it applies to, which is handy. You get whether it's restricted to go out on Onyx 2.1 feeds only, as you know, very, very deprecated, but possibly still useful for some people. You get to see whether there's an audience restriction on it, and you get to see the number of characters. So metadata in the sense of data that describes a piece of data. And so here we are describing the marketing text as this isolated piece of data. And if we want to see where that data comes from, of course, if we edit, go past the actual text bit itself, this is where it comes from, the language, any restriction dates, there's our audience restriction. So if we were to restrict it to the book trade, then that would have come through. And we can select all, restrict it to Onyx 1, that sort of thing. So now if we were to hit that button and copy HTML with metadata, go here, delete that, paste it in. Now we see that the audience is book trade. Now we see that the products to which this marketing text applies has changed. It applies to the hardback and the ebook and the audio, but not the paperback, which is what we just told it to do. So that's handy. Get rid of that while I'm here. And the final one, plain text with metadata. Copy that, paste it here. Same thing, but now plain text. And there's our same metadata. So good for dropping into an email, maybe? Or, I mean, just bear in mind that the moment you step outside of Consonance and you're copying this and you're pasting it into somebody else's system, you have now broken the golden rule of make sure that there's one version of the truth. But pragmatically, one has to get data out of the system to use it to sell books. So let's not be too precious about this, and that's why we help you in any way we can. So, you know, it may be that you need to paste this into InDesign for a flyer or a postcard, or onto the back of a piece of artwork in InDesign or Photoshop. You know, all sorts of reasons why you should be able to do what you want with your own data, right? It's not for us to say. We are in the business of making whatever you need accessible at the end of a touch of a button. So yes, so that is the useful little button there that hopefully you've seen already, but I wanted to make sure that you noticed that there's an extra bit, which is that rich text. Just while we're on this area, we've been looking in the kind of condensed view, and this is handy for reordering these texts. Some external recipients of yours in Onyx will want to receive marketing texts in a particular order. I don't know why. Well, sometimes I know why. Sometimes it's a review, and some other systems only accept a limited number of reviews, and they'll go in sequence order. So if you've got 50 reviews here, and you know that recipient X is only going to read the first 6 of them, you want the ability to be able to put the important ones at the top of the list. So we have this reordering draggy droppy thing. And if you've got a bazillion different texts here, then having a great big record makes it a little bit more difficult to reason with it. So we have this condensed view, and then we also have an expanded view. And when I click on this button, I get to see the same information, but, you know, writ large. So the short description here with a lot of different information. Here's all of our metadata and the ability to click in as well. But you still get your button. It's just the button is there, the short description, next to the short description, and next to the main description, and next to the table of contents and that sort of thing. So yes, so your button will remain no matter what view you are on, which is great news. Super duper. Yes, you can now copy and paste marketing texts in rich text, but it was a request that we got in from Dredge Client. And so that is, again, I like to reinforce the mechanism for making sure that Consonance is doing what you need it to do. If you don't see in the interface that there's a way of doing something, and you have had a look in the documentation, or you don't have time to do that, drop us a line, and we will very often build that into the system within the week, probably, and very often at no charge, because our business model is to build the best publishing management software in the world. We need your input to do that, because you will tell us what the next stretch goals are for different things. So when we get a request in like this, we build the feature for everyone, and that's why I'm telling you on the internet about this rather than just this one client. The client has come up with a good idea, we've made it work for them, and everyone benefits. It's like socialism. So this is all great news. And indeed, I thought I'd screenshot this from our what do you call it? The help desk software. We were talking about something else with said treasured client, and then he popped in a little note to say, this pop-up makes me so happy because there's his idea, his rich text button made real. So isn't that super? Very nice. Right. What is next on our list? This is why I'm very slightly agitated and excited today, because we are perilously close to allowing you to switch site appearance modes on Consonance. So I'm going to give you a preview of that. Very exciting times. And I'm also going to give you a tiny little update on two tiny little changes that we've made that will just smooth the path, make things just an absolute micro bit better, but it all helps, doesn't it? So let's go back to our interface. Here we are on local, because this is not live yet, where unless it is perfectly possible that this will be live before the weekend. And if it's not before the weekend, it will be extremely soon thereafter. So the new feature is this icon top right, and if I hover on it, it says site appearance. So let's zoom out and let's see what that does. So at the moment we are in light mode, and I've been moving around the system for this entire live stream, and hopefully you've not thought, gosh, that's all changed, that's all different. Hopefully you've thought, yes, seen this before. So light mode stays more or less the same. We have taken the opportunity, it was kind of one of the main drivers in this piece of work that we've done to put in dark mode, to make sure that the vast majority of the interface conforms to the WCAG 2.1 AAA colour contrast scheme. So that means that all of the text that you see here, depending on its size and depending on its colour relative to its background colour, so like here we've got a dark text and a light background, that's a ratio. And the WCAG guidelines provide the correct ratio for saying whether there's sufficient contrast to make this a piece of legible text. And remember as well, we're using a font called Atkinson Hyperlegible Next, which also aids legibility of the words that you see in the Consonance interface. So there are some very, very slight changes to the colours on light mode, but I would defy you to see anything on here that looks radically different from what you've been used to. So they are subtleties, but makes difference. We found some funnies where the colour contrast wasn't quite right. So that has been improved. There will still be some areas that are really difficult to ensure that we get a good colour contrast on. So like inactive states, you know, when there's a field and it's ineditable because you know we're not letting you because there's a good reason for it, like with the ISBN field on the metadata page. Once you've set the ISBN, we don't allow you to edit it because of the carnage that can ensue if you change the ISBN 13 of the live product, as we all know. So for that sort of field, we want to both give within the markup, we want to say that this field is inactive, but we also want to have some sort of visual affordance. And being able to get the colour contrast right on an inactive field, it's a little bit chicken and egg. Which one do you prioritise? The sense that it is not active and therefore all a bit greyed out, or the alternative. So certainly not saying that this is, you know, by the numbers all of the ratios are going to work, but it's absolutely a spectrum, isn't it, of making sure that we have engaged thoughtfully with making sure that the interface is as legible in as many different formats, sort of audible and visual, as possible. Anyway, so yes, so this is light mode, and nothing reasonably within the interface is going to have changed that much. So if you much prefer light mode, which approximately half of our development team prefer, then nothing really changes. But you can now opt in to dark mode. Just to stress, this is at the user browser level. So you changing the mode is not going to affect your colleagues in any way. This is your account only, your user account only, as an individual human person. So you can have a play at this, and you don't need to worry about all of your colleagues suddenly saying, "Gosh, what's happened to my computer? It's all gone dark." So this is for you as an individual human. So I've clicked on dark mode, and so you can see that we're on the same page, but now we are using different colours to express the things that are on the page. Struggling to explain how layout works. Yes, so this is how it looks. Variety of different pages for you to go and have a look at. We're very excited to get feedback on this. As I say, a lot of this conforms to sort of computery ratios to make sure that these colours against their background have a good high contrast ratio, but a lot of it is preference as well. You know, a lot of this is style and design, and the colours that we think help you to reason with your data as much as possible. You know, we're using as many different approaches as we can to help you understand the data in front of you. Colour is one of them. Good markup is another, so that screen readers can grapple with the markup appropriately. And perhaps as a separate piece, I might even be provoked into doing a blog post just to describe some of the tooling we've used to make sure that we're getting as accessible an interface to as wide a range of users as possible. But really, it comes down to going in, having a look, having a lovely time, see what you come up with. Very, very open to feedback as ever with all of this stuff. And it's been a sizable piece of work. So thank you so much to the team as well, who have had to review, rely on a lot of the automated approaches to making sure that the pages on paper look like they're passing all of these standards, but also everyone has looked at each of these pages and had a response to the colours and the layout and the way that the app works. So lots of hard work's gone into this, much appreciated indeed. So I was going to show you a couple of very small changes that go in with this new approach, and I'll flip us back to light mode. You'll notice again here's system mode as well. So if most of your system is set to light mode or set to dark mode, then you don't need to worry about, sort of providing an override for consonants. If you choose the system option, then that will honour your user preferences on your device. So that can be quite handy. It means that when you come to consonants, you're not sort of, a blaze of light when you're used to a nice cave-like, tranquil, dark area. Yes, the two small changes I wanted to just flag. One of them's on the metadata page, and it's been annoying me for ages, and so I'm glad that we've finally done it. When you go to the marketing region, so I've used the scroll spy to go to the marketing region, you have this sort of counter thing at the top, and it says which products have marketing texts, and we can see that, great news, all of these have got a main description, none of them have got a table of contents, all of that stuff. And when you click on these links, it jumps you to the bit of the page. And now it actually jumps you to the bit of the page that is that main description. What it was doing previously was jumping you to about there because it wasn't taking into account the header height. And just having to scroll up a little bit 1,000 times a day gets a bit wearing. So now when you click on key selling points, you go to key selling points. It's a little bit off kilter when the page is expanded. So if we expand it and then we go to short description, then we're a little bit off kilter, but we're more or less on it. And I might, have that as a stretch goal to get that even more accurate at that when it's expanded. But the general use cases, you come to the page, you go to marketing, you jump to the bit, and by default you are at this summary mode. So hopefully that will smooth the path a little bit. Here's one of the changes that has been made as a result of wanting to be better at colour contrast. The greyed out pills when one of the products was not applicable. So let's say that this marketing text is only applicable to audiobooks. We'll save that, and then we'll go back to our bit here. So now you can see that we've used this sort of empty ghost-like state rather than a very pale yellow text on a pale yellow background, which sort of vanishes into the background, in order to indicate that a product is not applicable to a particular marketing text or a contribution further down and that sort of thing. We're now seeing this sort of approach, which is hopefully, at least you can read it now, which is not too much to ask, is it? And then, nowadays, if we flip into dark mode, we can see how that's presented. Same sort of thing, but in dark mode. Yes, so that was that very, very small development. The other very small development is on the reporting area, and 1,000 to 10,000 times a day when I go to a report and I go to choose a display or action and I want to change display, when this menu comes up, until now you've had to hover over the text there, and it's such a tiny thing, I don't even know why I'm saying it, but now if you hover over the blob thing, that will also take you to the new display. So just these little smoothings of experience, just being able to click there and be able to switch rather than having to explicitly click on the text. So that is that. I wonder if there's quite a few other little changes, but you'll have to have a lovely click around. If you've been crying out for dark mode, you'll now be able to have a better time of it. If you hate dark mode and you don't know why anyone ever gets excited about it, that is completely fine. Just simply leave it in light mode and you'll be all right. Sorry about this strobe effect that I'm doing on you. I'm going to stop clicking around. But yes, lovely inky velvety interface for those who observe. Have a wonderful time with it. Right, I think, oh no, we've got a power move. And look, I've gone on so much about dark mode. It's going to have to be a pretty quick power move. Pew pew, and it will be. It is doing something in reporting, and the thing that we're going to do in reporting is run a report and then refine it just a little bit. Now, I was going to do a load of preamble, but I'm just going to show you. So here we are on a report, and it's come back with a whole bunch of products that it's relevant for, and that's because we've chosen no audiobooks, but these are all of the products where the publication date's not present. Very good, very good. But what if I want to omit cats in space? What would I do? I'd have to maybe go and say, okay, and the title does not contain space. That's fine, I could do that. Save and search, that's got rid of those. But what if I actually wanted to include just one of the, sometimes you just want to be able to say, yes, all of those except for this one or two. So let us have a look how to do that. And it is a bit of a power move, isn't it? Because it's a little bit fancy schmancy. So let's go to choose a display or action, and let me tell you where that is. It's not in lists. It is in batch actions. Click on batch actions. Oh no, it's not. Oh my goodness. Sorry. It's not in lists. It's not in batch actions. It's over here on refine results. Oh, I'm too excited. I'm looking at the dark mode thinking, yes, this is what I wanted. So here we go. Refine results by product. I'm going to click on that, and I get to see my results of my search. Great. But now I get a checkbox here. And so I think, yes, this is exactly the list I want, except not that one, not that one, not those two. And this would make sense, actually. Let's get rid of all of the the template ones. So that's fine. That's fine. And now I get to say, well, actually, do I want to include those or exclude those? And so I've got two buttons up here. I can exclude the ones I've selected, or I can restrict to the ones I've selected. So if I click restrict to selected, then I only get those. And then if I did the opposite, then I could exclude selected. So depending on what you want. And then the mechanism for that is that clicking on that button adds a new condition for you, and it's the system identifier in list. You can then switch it around and say not in list, and that would have the same effect as that exclude selected. So yes, so it is a power move. I'm labelling it power move, good. And it means that you can now sort of run a report, get as near as damn it, and if you just want to remove one or two products, or I think I saw contacts there as well, by contact, then you can, this only returns one, but then you can do that. Save your report, rename it if you want to, and then you've persisted it as a nice little thing. You can do that manually yourself, but who's going to type in IDs? That seems silly. And then if you wanted to, remove one of them or remove another one, it's all editable. You've got the ability to edit that. So that is all very powerful, very power movey. Excellent. Where's my list of things? There we are. So that's our results for a report. And we're done. You might be watching this on catch up because, as I say, it's Thursday morning today. I'm off to get my winter vaccines this afternoon, which is why I had to juggle the timings around. And even though I am mighty powerful, I'm not powerful enough to change the clinic hours of the NHS, nor would I want to. So back to the normal schedule next week, I think. Let us know if you like what you see on dark mode. Let us know if you think, oh, this is so great, if only it also did XYZ, because we're always all ears for all features at all times. We've got a lot of other exciting developments on the list, so next week's itinerary will be just as exciting. Lots of extra abilities coming down the line. But for now, I think that's a good week's work. Hope you have a splendid few days until I see you again. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Take it easy. Speak to you soon.